There is a painful truth many people never say out loud. Sometimes the person who hurts you the most is the person you feel the most drawn to. Sometimes the person who confuses you, disappoints you, makes you anxious, or leaves you guessing is the same person you cannot detach from. And on the other side, the healthy person, the stable person, the kind and consistent one, feels harder to connect with. You tell yourself the healthy person is good for you, but the toxic person feels exciting. The healthy person feels safe, but the toxic person feels addictive. Why does this happen? Why do we hold tighter to people who hurt us than to people who heal us? Why does chaos feel like connection, while calm feels like boredom? Why do we chase the emotionally unavailable but overlook the emotionally healthy? These questions are not about weakness or foolishness. They are about psychology, and once you understand the psychology, everything makes sense. Let's begin with the dopamine trap of unpredictable love. Healthy relationships feel steady. You know where you stand. But toxic relationships run on inconsistency. One day they give you affection. The next day they pull away. One moment they make you feel special. The next moment they make you feel small. This unpredictable pattern creates something powerful inside your brain. A dopamine loop, the same chemical pattern that keeps people addicted to gambling or substances. When someone's attention is inconsistent, your brain becomes obsessed with trying to get it back. You start working harder, caring more, and losing pieces of yourself to earn the next moment of closeness. You do not realize it, but your body is responding to a reward system that is constantly being interrupted. The high becomes intoxicating because it does not come easily. You become addicted to the chase, not the love. And the more unpredictable the relationship becomes, the deeper the addiction grows. This leads into the next truth. Toxic relationships often create trauma bonds. These are emotional bonds that form through cycles of pain and relief. It works like this. Tension builds, conflict erupts. You feel hurt, scared, or rejected. Then suddenly, there is reconciliation. They apologize. They soften. They show affection. They pull you back in. The emotional relief after the pain feels like love, but it is not love. It is survival. Your brain feels grateful to the same person who just hurt you. That gratitude becomes attachment. Imagine someone pushing you underwater and then pulling you up for air. The relief you feel when you breathe again would feel like gratitude, even though they were the one who put you under. This is how trauma bonds form. The cycle of hurt and comfort becomes so emotionally intense that you mistake intensity for love. You begin to believe that the person who wounds you is also the only one who can heal you, and that belief keeps you trapped. Another powerful reason we love toxic people more than healthy ones is that pain feels familiar. Our childhood teaches us what love feels like. If you grew up with inconsistency, you will be drawn to inconsistent partners. If you grew up with emotional neglect, you'll be drawn to emotionally distant people. If you grew up with chaos, calm will feel unsettling. If you grew up earning affection, you'll be drawn to relationships where you have to earn it again. People do not repeat what is good for them. They repeat what feels familiar. The nervous system prefers what it understands, even if it is painful. A toxic person feels like home because home never felt safe to begin with. Healthy love feels strange because you never learned how to rest in stability. So instead of choosing the calm connection, you choose the familiar chaos. Not because you want pain, but because your body does not yet recognize peace. Healthy people trigger vulnerability, while toxic people trigger escape. When someone is healthy, emotionally available, and safe, they see you clearly. They notice your feelings. They ask about your needs. They want real intimacy, and this terrifies people who were never taught that closeness is safe. When a healthy person gets close, you feel exposed. You feel seen, and being seen can feel threatening when your wounds have always been hidden. By contrast, toxic people create emotional distraction. They keep you focused on their moods, their reactions, their inconsistencies, their needs. You spend so much time trying to navigate them that you never have to face your own wounds. They keep your nervous system activated, and the more activated you are, the less you sit with your own emotions. It becomes easier to chase chaos than to confront your inner world. Another psychological trap is the illusion that you can fix them. Many people fall for toxic individuals because they feel needed. They believe their love can heal the other person. They believe they can be the one to change them. They believe that if they love hard enough, the other person will transform. This creates a sense of purpose, a mission, a role that feels meaningful. But this is not love. It is emotional labor masquerading as connection. Trying to fix someone creates a false intimacy. It makes you feel bonded, but the bond is built on responsibility, not reciprocity. You pour your heart into them because you are hoping that one day they will give back what you have invested. But toxic people rarely heal. They simply take, and every time you think you are getting closer to breakthrough, they reset the cycle. The ego also plays a role in loving toxic people more than healthy ones. Toxic individuals activate insecurity. They make you question your worth. They make you feel like you have to work for their approval. And because you have to work for it, it feels more valuable when you get it. You begin chasing validius, the way someone chases a high. Your ego becomes invested in winning their affection. It becomes a game you cannot walk away from, because walking away feels like losing. Healthy people do not activate this insecurity. They do not make you fight for affection. They do not keep you guessing. They do not play with your worth. And for someone used to emotional struggle, being loved easily feels undeserved. Healthy love does not require a battle. It requires presence, and presence feels foreign to someone who has spent their life fighting for scraps of affection. This leads us to another core truth. People confuse chemistry with compatibility. Chemistry is the spark, the intensity, the rush, the emotional fireworks that feel thrilling at the beginning. Toxic people often create extreme chemistry because they activate emotional triggers. They create adrenaline. They create uncertainty. They create longing. But compatibility is calm. Compatibility is trust, consistency, and emotional safety. Most people chase chemistry without understanding that chemistry is not connection. Chemistry is activation, and activation feels exciting, even when it is unhealthy. We must also talk about the addiction to emotional highs and crashes. Toxic relationships feel like a roller coaster. High highs, low, low, lows, low. The highs feel euphoric because the lows are so devastating. That contrast tricks your mind into believing the connection is meaningful. Healthy relationships do not create these emotional crashes. They do not trigger panic or fear. They do not activate your survival instincts. And because of that, they may feel flat at first. Not because they lack love, but because your nervous system is not used to equating calm with intimacy. To someone conditioned by emotional instability, healthy love feels boring at the beginning. Not because it is boring, but because it is safe. Safe does not give you adrenaline. Safe does not give you uncertainty. Safe does not make your heart race from fear. Safe gives you space to breathe. But breathing feels strange to someone who has spent years gasping. Over time, toxic dynamics damage your self-worth. The longer you stay, the more you begin to believe the things the toxic person implies. You start thinking you are not enough. You start thinking you deserve less. You start thinking you are difficult to love. Toxic people chip away at your identity until you no longer remember who you were before them. And when your self-worth drops, leaving becomes even harder because you no longer believe you deserve better. So how do you break the spell? Awareness is the first step. Recognize the cycle. Notice the patterns. Understand that your attachment to the toxic person is not love. It is trauma. It is chemistry. It is addiction. It is familiarity. And once you recognize that the intensity you feel is not a sign of connection but a sign of emotional activation, you begin to loosen the bond. The second step is to rebuild safety in your nervous system. You cannot choose healthy love if your body is addicted to chaos. You must teach yourself to feel comfortable in calmness, to feel peace without interpreting it as boredom, to feel stability without interpreting it as lack of interest. Healing requires learning to feel safe in spaces that once felt foreign. The third step is understanding that you cannot fix a toxic person. You can only fix the part of you that believes their love is the kind you deserve. Healing comes from choosing people who do not make you earn affection, people who do not make you guess, people who do not make you shrink, people who feel like safety, not survival. And here is the final truth. Toxic love feels addictive because it mirrors your wounds. Healthy love feels unfamiliar because it mirrors your worth. You are not drawn to toxic people because you are broken. You were drawn to them because they reflect patterns you learned long ago. But you can outgrow those patterns. You can choose differently. You can choose calm over chaos. You can choose peace over intensity. You can choose love that steadies you instead of love that shakes you. Real love should not hurt to prove itself. Real love should feel like home. Not the home you came from, but the home you always deserved.